Hi, I'm Xiaoshen Chen. My presentation will be divided into four parts, including the introduction of the project type, synopsis, and why am I interested in it, and how to create it. I chose the film Edward Scissorhands and switched its genre from romance fantasy to horror and thriller. The original narrative is about the tragic love story between Kim and Edward. I plan to remain the main character relation of the original version, but interpret it from a new way. The protagonist in my trailer would still be Kim, Edward, and Kim's boyfriend Jim. Still, the new narrative structure would move towards the tragic ending between them. But the original core theme of true love will be switched into crime and revenge. The whole story is about Kim, who suffers from harassment due to her boyfriend Jim seduces Edward into killing Jim. The trailer will begin with the scenes about Edward killing Jim and go drove away from the town. And then I will adopt the flashback narrative. The timeline will go back to 3 days ago. Kim wanted to break up with Jim, while experienced Jim's harassment afterwards. Then Kim saw Edward, who is introduced as the castle weirdo with scissor hands on the television. Kim and her mother Peg planned to bring Edward home. Kim tempted Edward into killing Jim for her through pretending falling in love with Edward. Finally, Edward becomes the murderer and going back to his castle again. People in the town would never know the real murderer hidden behind Edward is Kim. Despite the personal interest in horror and thriller film, I got the inspiration from the film Orphan. In terms of the transformation of main character, I want to shape a main female character who looks innocent but is actually powerful and evil, just as the protagonist Esther in Orphan. According to the character's costume and makeup, audience may stereotypically define Kim as the good person, while Edward as the evil. I think it would be attractive and interesting when people find the film's plot and character's persona to reverse in the film's ending. Besides, the already existing fantasy elements within this film, such as Edward's bizarre costume or the dusky castle, are suitable for rendering the horrifying atmosphere. It is stated that a crime is at the center of the thriller plot, and usually four sorts of characters are involved. There are the victims, the more or less innocent bystanders, the forces of justice, and the lawbreakers. Typically, the filmmaker decides to organize the film's narration around one or two of these character roles. Following the rule, my narration will be organized around victims, including Edward Kim and Jim, the lawbreakers, including Edward Kim and Peg, and the more or less innocent bystanders, which is Peg. In terms of plots, I plan to design a reversal of plot and Kim's persona in the ending of the trailer. As the trailer will employ the flashback narrative, the first time of flashback will be presented through Edward's memory in the beginning scenes. After going back to the castle, Edward will start to record things happening in the last 3 days. From perspective of Edward, he falls in love with Kim by being found out by Jim. Jim is so angry that he attacks Edward and Kim, and that's why Edward has to stab Jim. This part will be a bit similar to the plot in the original film. And the reversal, which is also the trailer's climax, will be presented through Kim's memory of last 3 days. From perspective of Kim, viewers will find that she was harassed by Jim, so Peg and Kim intentionally bring Edward home in order to seduce him into killing Jim. But as the theory of horror film has mentioned, manipulating audience expectations is not enough to create the horror effects, while intense and bloody scenes are also important. There is not much blood-curdling scenes in this film, so I will try to create an intense atmosphere through disorganizing original sequences and employing rhythmic and fast-paced smash cuts. Sequences showing characters' intense emotions or physical violence will be intercut with shots including close-up of scissor hands or gun. While combining these sequences in a new timeline, I will need to pay attention to characters' position on image. the direction that they look at, and their actions in order to assure the continuity of action and space. To achieve the continuity of narrative, I might also split certain diegetic dialogue from its original scenes and associate it with another different scenes. For creating suspense and rendering anxious emotion, I will adopt loud sound effect and background music that tends to be fast-paced and high-pitched. Besides, the image's color and lighting also express meanings. According to Broadway Thompson and Smith, low-key and high-contrast lighting is rare in a musical or romantic comedy, but is standard in a horror film and a thriller. I will apply filter to lower image's brightness and increase the contrast, which not only meets the convention of horror film, but also assures the continuity of narrative. And that's all of my presentation. Thank you for listening.